On a sweltering summer evening in 1954, the air in Memphis, Tennessee, crackled with an unprecedented energy. It was an evening that would forever change the landscape of music, blurring lines that had once seemed unbreakable. In a small studio at the Sun Records building, a young singer named Elvis Presley was about to unleash a sound that would shake the foundations of American culture. But to understand the significance of that moment, we must first rewind to the events leading up to it. Elvis had just finished performing at a local venue, leaving behind a crowd that felt something special but couldn't quite put their finger on it. His voice, raw and powerful, blended elements that were unusual for the time, a mix of blues, country, and rhythm and blues. This fusion, however, was not just a curious blend of genres, it was a challenge to the very notion of racial boundaries in music. Elvis's version of That's All Right, a song steeped in blues tradition, had a unique sound that was both familiar and strange to listeners, black and white alike. As Elvis's friends at Sun Records, Sam Phillips and Dewey Phillips, pondered how to share this new sound with the world, they faced a dilemma. How do you promote a song that doesn't fit neatly into any one category? How do you ensure it reaches as many ears as possible, without alienating any particular group? The answer seemed simple yet was fraught with complexity: play it on the radio. Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun Records, had a knack for spotting talent and knew the power of radio. He called his friend Dewey, the host of a popular R&B show on WHBQ radio, to play the tape of Elvis's performance. Dewey was initially hesitant. The song's sound was unconventional, and his audience was largely made up of hardcore R&B fans who might not take to this new blend. But something about the music stuck with Dewey. After much thought, he decided to take a chance. The next evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Dewey announced to his listeners that they were about to hear a new record from Sun that he believed would be a hit. The anticipation was palpable. People tuned in, curious to hear this mysterious sound that could bridge the gap between their worlds. When Dewey finally played That's All Right, the effect was immediate and electric. The response was nothing short of phenomenal. Phone lines lit up with questions and demands to play the song again. Listeners, regardless of race, were captivated by Elvis's voice and the unique sound of his music. It was as if the radio had cast a spell, temporarily erasing the barriers of segregation. Sam Phillips later recalled the moment with pride, knowing he had played a crucial role in something historic. But the success of That's All Right didn't stop there. The next day, Elvis's parents, Gladys and Vernon, were summoned to the radio station to find their son. Elvis, who had initially avoided the commotion, was reluctantly pulled into the spotlight. The world outside his small circle was suddenly aware of him, and he was both terrified and exhilarated by the attention. As the news of Elvis's radio debut spread, the demand for more grew. Sam Phillips knew they needed to capitalize on this momentum. The next day, Elvis, along with his bandmates Scotty Moore and Bill Black, returned to the studio. The goal was clear: create another hit to follow the initial success. Initially, Elvis struggled to replicate the magic of That's All Right, favoring ballads that didn't quite capture the same energy, but then something unexpected happened. Inspired by Bill Monroe's bluegrass song Blue Moon of Kentucky, Elvis and the band transformed the tune into an upbeat, energetic number. Sam Phillips saw the potential and encouraged them to push the boundaries further, moving away from traditional country sounds. The result was a track that blended Elvis's unique voice with the infectious energy of bluegrass. It was raw, it was new, and it was undeniably catchy. When the single, featuring That's All Right on the A side and Blue Moon of Kentucky on the B side, hit the shelves, it quickly became clear that something extraordinary had happened. People, both black and white, were buying the record in droves. By October, over 6,000 copies had sold in and around Memphis alone. Elvis's signing of a contract with Sun Records in late July solidified his commitment to this new path. For a royalty of 3% on every record sold, he agreed to record at least 8 songs over the next 2 years. This was more than just a business deal. It was a pact to create music that would challenge the status quo and redefine what was possible in the world of popular music. As the sales figures mounted, the impact of Elvis's music became undeniable. It wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural shift. People were listening to a white singer who sounded like he belonged in the black music scene, and vice versa. The barriers that had kept music and people divided were starting to crumble. And it all began with a single radio broadcast on a summer evening in 1954. Phillips knew that getting Elvis's music heard outside of Memphis would be tough. The city was already primed for his style thanks to shows like Red, Hot, and Blue. But other places, especially the small towns in the Deep South, were a different story. Racial segregation was still strong there, and people were not used to the changes of the post-war era. This made them wary of Elvis's music. When Phillips traveled to these areas, he found that while some African-American disc jockeys liked Elvis's original sound, many white disc jockeys were hostile. They thought the music was too white or too black. Even when white kids heard the music, they were unsure how to react. They liked the sound but were confused about whether to enjoy it. Phillips realized live performances were the key to breaking down these barriers. He started planning to turn Elvis, Scotty, and Bill into a touring act. This decision came after the first single's release in mid-July. He arranged for Elvis to play at the Bon Air nightclub in Memphis, opening for the Starlight Wranglers. On July 17th, Elvis took the stage for the first time, nervous but performing well. His natural charisma shone through, showing that live performance could be a powerful tool. Encouraged, Phillips reached out to Bob Neal, a local disc jockey, to get Elvis on the bill for a larger event. They decided on a hillbilly hoedown at the Overton Park Shell, an amphitheater in a Memphis park. Slim Whitman was the headliner, and other acts were country musicians similar to Elvis. To prepare, the trio rehearsed hard, with Phillips watching closely. They also played at the Bon Air again. To help Elvis, Marion Kasker, a reporter, took him for his first official interview. Kasker emphasized to the reporter, Edwin Howard, that Elvis's music was popular across different types of radio shows, appealing to everyone. This was important because Phillips wanted to show that Elvis's music could bridge racial divides, appealing to both black and white audiences. Despite the preparations, Elvis was nervous on the day of the show. His family and friends were there, but the audience was much larger and all white. As Phillips arrived, Elvis was on the verge of panic, worried the crowd would hate him. Phillips tried to calm him down. When Neal introduced them, Elvis started playing "That's All Right." At first, he was unsure, clutching the microphone and staring at the crowd. But as the music began, he let loose, moving in a way that was both nervous and energetic. His unique style, influenced by his background, caught the crowd's attention. Initially, many teenagers in the crowd reacted with excitement, whooping and hollering. Elvis was unsure if they were laughing at him, but when the music started for the second song, "Blue Moon of Kentucky," he saw their true reaction, ecstatic approval. He gained confidence and became more relaxed, even letting his wild movements enhance the performance. The crowd's response was electric, and Elvis found himself enjoying the moment. This performance at Overton Park was a turning point. Elvis's success here and at the Eagle's Nest nightclub encouraged the club's manager to book them for weekends. These shows helped Elvis grow more confident and allowed the band to refine their act and learn new songs. Elvis's style, blending country with rhythm and blues, was unique and hard to categorize. He adopted a flamboyant look, mostly in pink and black, which set him apart from traditional country musicians. This style, combined with his energetic performances, made him exotic and attractive to many, especially young white people in Memphis looking for something new. As Elvis's live performances gained traction, his record sales continued to soar. Both his songs were played extensively on country and R&B radio stations in Memphis. Critic Paul Ackerman from Billboard praised Elvis as a strong new talent, noting that his music appealed to both blacks and whites. This kind of recognition was crucial for Phillips, who used it to push for more radio play outside of Memphis. However, despite this progress, most radio DJs outside the city remained hesitant to play Elvis's records. Phillips's efforts to convince them were met with resistance, leaving him increasingly discouraged as he traveled from town to town. Elvis Presley's journey from a local sensation in Memphis to a music icon was marked by hard work, determination, and a unique sound that captured the hearts of many. As his popularity grew, so did the opportunities for him and his band, the Blue Moon Boys. Here's how things unfolded in simple terms. At first, Elvis played to crowds of excited teenagers in Memphis. They flocked to hear him perform on a flatbed truck at a new shopping center. It was a big deal, and more people started to take notice. Elvis's music was special because it mixed country and R&B, two types of music that weren't usually mixed together. This blend was fresh and energetic, making people want to dance and sing along. To reach an even bigger audience, Elvis's manager, Sam Phillips, tried to get him on the Grand Ole Opry, a famous weekly country music show. Although the first try didn't go well, it didn't deter Phillips. A few weeks later, Elvis and his band got a warm welcome at another live radio show called the Louisiana Hayride. This show was important for many musicians, including those who came after Elvis. Phillips saw the potential in these appearances and started working with a local DJ to book more shows for Elvis across the South. They targeted places where teenagers would be more likely to attend, like high school auditoriums. As Elvis's fame grew, so did the number of fans and the size of the crowds. By early 1955, Elvis had a solid manager in Bob Neal, who helped him get booked in more towns and even in bigger venues like schools. This exposure helped Elvis become known among white teenagers, who were a key part of his fan base. Neal and Phillips worked together to make sure Elvis was seen not just as a country musician, but as a star who could appeal to everyone. As Elvis's career took off, he kept returning to the Sun Studios in Memphis to record new songs. These recordings were released as singles, and though their sales weren't always high, they were still very popular in certain areas. The music Elvis and his band created was different. They took songs from different genres and mixed them in new ways, making something fresh and exciting. For example, they took an R&B song and turned it into an upbeat tune that made people want to dance. They also took country songs and gave them a rock and roll feel. Their songs like That's All Right, Baby Let's Play House, and Mystery Train were unique and original. They didn't just follow the rules of country or R&B music, but created something new and bold. Critics like Grail Marcus noted that Elvis had the courage to break down the walls between different types of music. He showed that music could be a blend of styles, and this openness was key to his success. Elvis didn't just copy what was popular, he added his own style and energy, making his music stand out. In the end, Elvis Presley became a legend. His music, though rooted in the traditions of the South, spoke to young people across the country. He proved that music could bridge gaps and bring people together. His story is a testament to the power of creativity, perseverance, and the ability to see and embrace new possibilities. Elvis's impact on music is still felt today, showing that the seeds he planted in those early years continue to grow and inspire new generations of musicians and fans.